The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys! This is Mick Shots.
Streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
And it's a Wednesday at 11 a.m. inside the SWBC podcast studio here at the beautiful Star in Frisco. And that can mean only one thing.
What is that?
What?
Not sure what that means, but we are here on a Wednesday instead of a Monday.
We're going to wake this place up today.
All right.
It's pretty quiet.
Mickey's going to wake this place up with the shirt he's wearing there.
Oh, nice.
You like that?
The bright yellow sleeves.
I remember that. They discontinued that.
They did.
In 1984.
That's right.
Oh, I think this was about 2016.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. It was at the Cowboys Golf Club that you got that.
I believe that's right.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's official
Dang, way to
Cowboys
go,
gear
Bill.
that he is wearing there. I've got one deep in my closet somewhere.
Mine was deep, too, but I dug today. Like, let's do something different.
All right, and we're going to dig deep into this Cowboys team here over the course of the next 45 minutes to an hour, depending on when we run out of gas, as we close out the month of May.
We run out of gas real fast.
May 31st.
I saw some football players on top of the building across the way near
did.
the practice field. They're having a skull session right now.
An unofficial walkthrough.
Yes.
On top of the building?
Where they do the little team meetings right outside the
gotcha.
offices over there. So there are football players on the premises, as this is the second week of OTAs.
But they're not officially practicing.
That's right.
Okay.
Let me just throw that out there.
Yeah. That's for anyone that's listening.
No one wants to get fined again. $100,000.
Out of whose pocketbook?
The head coach.
I know it. And
The head coach.
Yeah.
Come on.
Take that home to your wife.
They were
The head coach? The owner has nothing to do with
They got
this.
accused for being too physical last year.
Back-to-back years, so it's $100K.
Yeah. So it was 50, then 100.
That'll get the...
Explain that to your wife.
So McCarthy
Right.
had to pay this.
So he
Correct.
basically was, when he was talking about it on Thursday, he was talking about how, we're being very careful. And somebody said that it have anything to do with, getting fined last year. And everybody laughed, right? And he goes, well, I'm glad you find humor in it. My wife and I don't think it's real funny.
Man, that is crazy.
Yeah.
I thought it would go to the owner.
So they went 180 to the other side, from physical to basically might as well.
We're just talking it out.
Not even playing touch.
We're going to
football.
talk it out. We'll just talk it out.
I mean, when they
walk
did,
it out and talk it out.
When they did passing drills and they were in 11 on 11, it was like, yeah, go ahead and catch the ball. We're not defending anything.
Well,
right?
see, now, the players probably, to Coach McCarthy's defense, got a little carried away, right? Doing
sure.
mini camp.
Yeah.
And they got out there and started competing a little bit, right? And so someone's watching and they said, hey, that's too much.
If you're telling them you're going to play football, they're going to compete,
Yeah,
right?
and you got your boy out there. We hadn't seen each other in a while. Let's reconvene. That's interesting.
They backed off.
I would be passing the hat in the locker room. Okay, you were practicing too hard. I saw you too.
Yeah,
Well, the team can benefit from not having as
you
rigorous
should not
practice.
get any injuries in
That's
these
right.
OTAs.
I mean, there's a Sean Lee injury in 2014 that occurred in the month of May.
Yeah.
Sean Lee. I remember that one. It was a run to the right, and he was going, to stop him, to turn him back inside. And when I think it might have been
Zach Martin.
He
was a rookie.
Yeah,
He was 14.
kind of blocked him.
Way to go,
But
Zach.
He turned back inside to try to cut it off, right? And and
didn't they have that video on?
It was during an open.
I remember.
It was
open practice, and so
Yeah.
the media was at Valley Ranch.
So and basically what he did, he tore an ACL that was about halfway gone anyway. But anyway, I remember it was a week or so later. I was in the locker room, and he comes walking in on crutches. Right, he had just had his surgery, and I looked at him and I shook my head. I go, Sean, it was an OTA. What are you doing? He goes, well, I was just trying to do the right thing that was my responsibility to turn it back inside.
And that was a testament to how Sean did need to dial it down a little bit.
That's him, though,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I recall that.
So anyway, it was powder puff OTA out there, I'll guarantee you. They stayed away
They should actually give them T-shirts
11
that say
out of 11.
that. This is powder puff OTAs.
Yeah.
Well,
but and Dak talked about it, and he said, something to the effect that, while we can't go full speed, he goes, I can go full speed in my mind. And you just get mental reps to understand what we're trying to do.
He's seen enough to where he can anticipate
and he said, and that's what everybody else has got to do. So anyway, we'll have a lot of impressions of that. By the way, today's May 31st.
Yes.
So that means tomorrow, June 1st, is the June 1st releases, remember? Ezekiel, Elliott. So on June 2nd, the Cowboys will recoup some salary cap money.
Not just some, but $10.9 million will be.
But they also, so he was going to count $16 million in change against the cap. Now, the 5.8 has to still be accounted for, so they'll clear about $10 million.
Has anyone had a Zeke Elliott sighting?
I think maybe at Dak Stadium. I don't know.
The Dak Yard.
The Dak Yard. The Dak Yard. I like
Dak
that.
Yard, yeah. But, no.
So he has been. He has visited.
Okay, so you want to jump into it right now?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. What do you think?
So, did you see what Mike McCarthy said about it?
Yes. Last Thursday, his press conference, Mike McCarthy talking about as they looked back at short yardage and goal line situations last year. What was the quote?
So here's the entire quote. Somebody
Bill
asked
couldn't
about
wait for this.
replacing.
Wait till next segment, but you want to jump into it now? Let's go.
He said somebody asked him about how is going replacing Zeke, and he said, "Well, I don't think you just go out and replace Zeke. I don't view it that way. Caponomics, that's real, and sometimes you have to make decisions." The coaches were doing short yardage and goal line last night. And he just jumps off the tape. It's really not about replacing Zeke. It's about opportunities for other young guys.
And they weren't looking at short yardage and goal line plays from 4 years ago.
No.
They were looking at short yardage and goal line plays from last year.
That's right. And so the head coach understands that there were 12 rushing touchdowns. There were 12 of 14 conversions on 3rd and 1. And when they were at the 1 yard line, he was scoring. 7 touchdowns inside the 5.
So the whole situation changes come Friday as far as Zeke's market.
Right. And we'll see what ends up. Well, he could have signed.
He could have, yeah. But
he hasn't.
But he wasn't going to get the Cowboys' best offer until Friday.
And so they could
So that would be
okay.
He could have offers on the table from other teams right now, and he could be telling those other teams I'm waiting until June 2nd.
And who would those potential other teams be? What's been speculated?
Well, there was speculation.
There's been rumors, but and then everybody else said, "Whoa, no, we hadn't done anything." So was it?
Well, Tampa Bay's got Skip Pete as a running backs coach,
right?
And they have no salary cap money available, but I don't know if they had a June 1st cut or not.
And they didn't re-sign Fournette, right? They let
Right, Fournette's out there and free agent as well right now.
So wait, Skip Pete, that's his name, right?
Uh-huh.
So what's he going to coach? I mean, what running backs are there? I'm asking. I mean, who's there? He comes to a team with no quarterback. Well, they got
a quarterback.
They got a quarterback, yeah. I mean,
it's pretty slim pickings.
Yeah, it really is. So you sent me down to Tampa.
Tampa Bay has, in their running back room, a third-round pick from last year, Rashad White. Chase Edmonds, who they signed in free agency, he was cap casualty in Denver. Keyshawn Vaughn, who is a third-round pick in 2020. Patrick Laird, Ronnie Brown, not that Ronnie Brown, and Sean Tucker. Sean Tucker, who I really like from Syracuse. However, he may not play this year because or may not play in his NFL career. He could have been a second-round draft pick, but he was detected with a medical condition at the combine.
So what you're telling me,
he wasn't even able to run to train for the draft.
Skip better coach his ass off, right?
Coach what?
So there is room at the end in Tampa.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Is it? They have a whole wing ready.
If you just want to concentrate on what the head coach says, we understand thoroughly.
My ears perked up when he said that.
It's right there in my column, and I highlighted it.
It's not just talk. That they value Zeke, and look at what the Cowboys. I mean, we talked about what Tampa Bay has in their running back room. What do the Cowboys have right now?
What am I smiling at, right?
And you've got Tony Pollard.
And by the way, he was taking part in some of the drills, so that was encouraging. And he looked like they weren't going full speed, but he was moving. So it wasn't like he was out there limping through things.
Excellent.
So that was encouraging.
And you've got Ronald Jones, who they signed in free agency, who, by the way, in Kansas City last year played in 6 games and got 38 offensive snaps in Kansas City last year.
That makes you feel good, huh?
Deuce Vaughn, of course, the 6th-round draft pick out of Kansas State.
Who is as small as advertised.
Which is 5'5", 179 pounds.
I think they
he's
got
not
him at
1 inch over 5.
I think they got him at 5'6".
Well, the combine had him at 5 feet 5 inches tall.
Right. And
my mother was taller than he was.
And this thing, the roster we got has number 42 at 5'6", 176. So maybe
then you got Malik Davis and Rico Dowdle and Hunter Lipke.
Don't go to sleep on Malik Davis. They like him. And he showed up last year. I think he had like 38 carries.
Do they like him on the goal line in short yardage situations?
That's all I'm worried about, Spag.
He's 205.
That says nothing to me,
And what is
Spag.
Zeke? Zeke is 225.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, that says nothing to me.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Well, I mean, just to be a complimentary running back to Pollard, but not to do what Zeke does.
That's what I'm worried about. We know that Malik Davis is a good player. We saw that last year when he got some time. And see, that's what we all remember about is the block that he missed. But otherwise, he had a decent season for someone that's playing behind 2 very good running backs.
All right. I think one of the big questions here is how many offensive snaps do you want Tony Pollard to have in a game? Well, and we'll break it down over a season. Over a season, basically on offense, you have in a 17-game season a little over 1,100 snaps.
Can I make a difference between snaps and touches? Because to me, it's touches. That's when we give him a lot of touches, then that's when you can see him get fatigued. I don't know about the amount of plays. I don't know about his blocking, but I know when it comes to the touches, the more touches that we get him, the more he's fatigued and he's tapping out.
And so if he was getting, I was doing it real quick if I did it right, 15 carries a game over 17 weeks. That looks like that comes to about 250 snaps in the season.
Yes.
That would be about right. I don't.
Okay, here was the breakdown last year.
We're talking passes as well.
Here was the breakdown as far as snaps go last year.
Right.
What do you think the percentage was of snaps divided between Tony Pollard and Zeke Elliott last year?
I'm guessing it was 38% to whatever.
38% for Pollard,
Yes,
and 62% for Zeke.
right.
Tony Pollard had 567 offensive snaps last year, and Zeke Elliott had 558.
So it was almost.
It was
equal.
a 50-50 split last year. But the perception is that Zeke is on the field a lot more than Pollard.
Right.
Well, as it turns out, Pollard was on the field as much as Zeke was last year. So my point is, and so even if you want to push where do you want to push Pollard to as far as those snaps go? Do you want him to go 60-40?
I say you keep it right where.
Right.
I think you want it 50-50,
Yeah.
just like you
where
had it,
he's
and you can
effective.
give him more touches as you go along here. Okay, I went back and looked at the first game of the year last year last night against Tampa Bay, and you could tell from the get-go, the very first snap of the season, they're going to make a concerted effort to have Pollard on the field as much as Zeke. So on the first play of the game, both of them are on the field, and Pollard lined up wide, and then he went in motion back in the backfield. They handed to Zeke. Then on the third play, they're back on the field at the same time, and they run an end around with where it's like a double reverse, giving it to CD, and then he kind of passes it over to Pollard, and they lose 10 yards. And
That was genius.
Yeah, right. and so they were trying to figure out ways to get Pollard on the field at the same time. Well, you can figure out ways to get Pollard the football and more than you give it to whoever the other running back is. But I think you want him so that he is strong throughout the season, basically a 50-50 split, Pollard versus the other running backs. Now, who on this depth chart do you want to take those 50% of the snaps?
I would have to spread them out between 2 or 3 guys.
Right.
And I'll just go back to what McCarthy said. Caponomics, that's real. If he wasn't making a $10.9 million base salary this year, he would have been in that locker room right now. I'll guarantee you.
And we want intelligent touches, Bill. You don't just want to just give anybody a touch. Okay, it's all right. We're just gonna be counting percentages here. Okay, you got yours. Then all right, this time it might be 31, but then it's Malik Davis's turn. But it's 31. We're trying to move the chains, so you gotta be smart about the touches.
Right.
You gotta be strategic on who's gonna have it at a particular time. So touches is one thing, but sometimes the flow of the game might predicate the type of touches that you have.
If you want him in there banging away on 3rd and 1 and you get it, now it's first down, are you handing him the ball again?
You could have possibly the way a drive could turn out, you could have several very important 3rd and 1s. And you got to be smart on who you want to give it to.
Right.
And how many times you want to give it to him with this backfield.
And from Pollard, what's his deal? Basically his ability to bust a run, right? NFL.com did a deal on top 10 explosive runners in the league. And it was a combination of some next-gen stats, expected, yardage, and then they broke it down to 10-plus runs, 10-yard-plus runs percentage, and then 15-plus mile-per-hour runs, and percentage. Pollard ended up 5th. He had an overall score of 87. The number 1 guy was Justin Fields, had a 98, but he had far fewer carries than Pollard did, and they're different carries, right?
Of course.
Because a lot with the quarterback, it's not designed runs.
Broken pass plays.
Right, so that gives you an opportunity. But he had 31 10-plus yard runs, so 16% of his carries were at least 10 yards. And when it came to 15-plus miles an hour run, he had 43 of those. So you don't want that to go down because you've given him more carries. You still want that explosiveness. That's his deal.
Those carries are most likely not on the goal line, and they are most likely not short yardage plays that Pollard had. Okay, those are usually 1st and 10, 2nd and long. And we learned how to stretch the field. You remember how we used to do it with Dorsett, and we see it with Pollard. You stretch the field, create the weakness, and you cut back inside. Yeah, you can do that on 1st and 10, 2nd and long. 3rd and 1, goal line, you can't do that. It's hard to create that kind of scenario to where you can create softness
Right.
for Pollard or anyone of his size. That's tough to emulate with someone that's not Zeke Elliott.
So two things happen right away when everybody sees June 1 and say, the Cowboys are going to have $10 million more in cap space. Well, the first thought is, you got to go get DeAndre Hopkins, right? The second thought is that, my thought is you can use that money now. It's not like you can go and just splurge. Now you've got available cap space to sign guys to extensions. Trayvon Diggs, maybe CeeDee Lamb at some point.
Lamb, yeah.
And by the way, Trayvon Diggs was not at the OTA. Now, he's done that before, working out with his brother and whatever. And I understand it's voluntary, right? Hambrick. I still think of that every day, standing there listening to him to say, what do voluntary mean? But again, you also have $10 million extra to say, hey, Zeke, how about $2.5, $3 million base to return with incentives, right? And you can do the incentives in a way that they won't count against the cap, because if you give him incentives that he accomplished the year before, then they're likely to be earned and you got to pay for it. And if he doesn't get it, then you get a rebate the next year. But if you give him the type of incentives that he didn't have the previous year and he gets them, then they charge you next year for that. So there's a way to work on that. So, yeah, I think that no one's brought that up right away. DeAndre Hopkins, right?
He's going to cost more than $10 million.
Well, yeah, absolutely, for what he was making.
I mean, he's a $20 million wide receiver.
Yes, absolutely. And you spent your money on your wide receiver with Brandon Cooks. By the way,
he'll end up in Cincinnati. DeAndre Hopkins, Cincinnati, or the Chargers.
Deshaun Watson wants him.
Cleveland, and in fact, and bring that up in regards to Zeke as well. Cleveland could use another running back to go with Nick Chubb also, but there are 6 teams that are picking up cap space on Friday, and the Browns are one of those teams. Like the Cowboys, estimated $10.9 million becomes available for them. And so I would think Deshaun Watson has that targeted for DeAndre Hopkins, that extra money.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting
And you're right,
to see.
Zeke could be back in Cleveland, back in Ohio.
Back in Ohio. I mean, Cincinnati was another team that was mentioned because they lost Samaje Perine, but they did draft Chase Brown, rookie out of Illinois, to go with Mixon.
Good player?
He's good,
Yes.
Yeah, he's good. He's a different type back than what Zeke is. Zeke is more is the Samaje Perine type to go along with Mixon. So that made a lot of sense there too. But they've got, and the other thing on Zeke is he now knows what the market is for running backs, as opposed to back in March when he was let go. Okay, so he sees that there's not that kind of money out there that there has been in the past for running backs. And so I would imagine if I am Zeke's agent, I want to see what the Cowboys' best offer is, and see what else is out there. Take it to the Cowboys and see if they'll match it. And the Cowboys, up until this Friday, haven't had the ability to match it. Well, now they presumably have extra money that they may not be spending elsewhere.
How influential you think Dak might be in this situation?
I think just like Deshaun Watson wants DeAndre Hopkins in Cleveland, I would think that Dak wants, and I would think Tony Pollard wants Zeke Elliott here too.
Right.
Yeah, and I would imagine the coaching staff too.
It sounded like it.
Yeah. So, everybody's like, "Oh, I got all this money now." Well, no, because normally, and they have around $10 million today. You need about that to operate through the season, because you're going to have injuries. You're going to have guys you're going to have to pay on IR. You're going to have guys get hurt that you pay injury settlements to. And if you look at what happened last year, I think they ended up playing, I'm doing it off the top of my head. They ended up playing like 72 guys at some point during the season to get through the season.
Damn,
So
that seems like a lot.
well, when you have injuries,
And I don't know. I've
Here's
never
the-
really thought
no,
about the number.
yeah,
It is a
That
lot,
seems a lot.
but the whole landscape on it changed with the pandemic because the rules changed as far as injured reserve goes. And
So that'd be about the norm, you
now,
think?
if you got a guy who sprains an ankle, you don't have to put him on season-ending injured reserve. He can just be out 4 weeks, and so
Yeah.
you're going to naturally use more players. So you need more depth on your roster that way.
and you got to fund.
And larger practice squad too, and the practice squad rules are different, where you can have veterans on your practice squad.
and
So
you
it's
got to fund
there's a new norm.
Yes,
There's a
that's
new norm
right.
now.
and you got to fund your practice squad, and that's 16 guys over 18 weeks, and those guys, if they're there the whole time, make right at $200,000, which is why when you see some of the undrafted free agents, you came around too soon. They're guaranteeing them $200,000, but the guarantee is if you don't make the team, you'll at least be on the practice squad.
What is the base salary for
A rookie, first year.
First year.
I think it's
gone
almost
up.
getting close to 600,000. It may be 500 and change.
So undrafted free agent, huh?
Yeah, if he's on the
If he's on the 53,
That's
Yeah.
yeah.
rookie minimum.
What was your rookie minimum?
I think like 28, 30. I got 30. I think I got $1,500 signing bonus.
Well, by God,
So really, when you look at the training camp rosters, and all teams have 90 players on their training camp roster, if you look at throughout the course of, if you chart it throughout the course of the season with practice squads and injuries and all that stuff, I would estimate that out on every team's camp, 80 of those 90 players will be on a roster at some point during the season, which is a total difference than what it's been in the past.
Exactly.
yeah. So
Good stuff.
No. All right.
I told you we were going to light this place up.
We got a lot more to get to, and Mick Shots continues in a moment.
Thank you, Chris.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com is one of the most trusted ways to buy, sell, and trade crypto. Whether you're always on the go or stay closer to home, Blockchain.com is just a few taps away. Put the power of crypto in your pocket, so no matter where you are, you can trade on your terms and build a crypto portfolio to fit your life. For crypto pros, rookies, and anyone in between, Blockchain.com makes it easy to own a piece of the future. Blockchain.com, trusted by millions, trusted by America's team.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with pre-game sideline access and photo ops with current players, cheerleaders, and Cowboy legends. You want to stay at a team hotel, attend the best tailgate party in Texas, tour the Star, and talk X's and O's with me, Everson Walls? With Star Sports Tours, you can. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
Hey, honey, can we talk?
Of course. What's up?
Well, I just thought you should know I've been curious about the new Dr. Pepper strawberries and cream.
Have you felt this way a long time?
No, I just think I'd really like the taste of Dr. Pepper, swirled with layers of flavor.
If you feel that way, I think you should try it, babe.
It's amazing. I mean, you're amazing too.
New Dr. Pepper strawberries and cream. The new flavor you deserve.
Back to Mick Shots.
Cape Post Roofing and Waterproofing. That's a proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys. From corporate homes to your home, have your roof checked by choice, not by chance. Call now, 214-225-4860. That would be capepostcompany.com.
All right, we've got this breaking news. According to the 2020 collective bargaining agreement, this is the rookie minimum salary in 2023. Mickey, you estimated it was around
$550 somewhere.
Okay.
In there.
Try $750,000 in 2023. The rookie minimum salary
I recall that.
in the NFL is now up to $750,000. Last year it was $705,000.
Okay.
2021 it was $660,000, and 2020 it was $610,000. Okay, it will go up to. By 2028, 5 years from now, the rookie minimum will be $975,000. In contrast, 12 years ago, 2011, it was $375,000. It's gone up from $375,000 to $750,000 in 12 years. In 15 years, it's gone up $500,000. In 2006, it was $275,000, and now it's $750,000.
So now you know why the salary cap keeps increasing, right? It's got to. Otherwise, you can't keep up with the increase in the base salary.
And the TV contracts are doing well for the owners.
Well, next year,
man,
that salary cap's going to go up $25 million.
Now, let me show you how this benefits veteran players. Okay, because if you now look at the difference, and I think this is probably something that even veteran players were pushing for, because veteran players were getting pushed out of the league because of the difference in the minimum salary for a veteran player versus a rookie in the past, where you could save basically $500,000 if you take the young guy over the veteran guy. This year, $750,000 for a rookie is the minimum base. Yeah. $870 for a player with 1 year of service. For a player with 6 years of service, it's $1 million. There's not that much difference between a rookie and a 6-year veteran now.
That's what the 6-year veteran would say when he goes in to negotiate. Hey, I got a lot more experience than this guy here. And we're making almost the same.
It's going to keep players in the league longer. Those 3rd year, 4th year, 5th year guys can now stay in the league because the difference in pay is for and these are core players on your team.
But you're talking about so the rookies are happy because their minimum went up. And the veterans are happy because they get to stay. Now, potentially.
Now, basically what has happened, because free agency has flooded the market so much, is that everybody is making the minimum. Once you get past the first wave of free agency, that's why you had guys that were signing for 1-year contracts at the minimum, which is $1.1 million for these veteran guys.
Well, Will McClay is pretty good at that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we do that a lot here.
And so you have to – well, and that also, and New England's been good at this over the years, where it's not necessarily the guys you're drafting this year, but the guys who are going to become available 2 years from now, 3 years from now, where in your draft preparation, you have to get to know all those players because you're going to have an opportunity within 3 years to acquire one of those players.
See, and the other benefit, too, is if you sign these guys to 1-year veteran exception, you get a break on their base salary. Like, you can pay them that much, but it only counts a percentage less. And as long as you only give them a small signing bonus, like maybe $150,000, I think that's the limit. So you can sign guys to veteran exceptions and save some money on the salary cap. And you know what? When it comes down to it, every $10,000, $20,000 counts nowadays because it's so tight and because you got to use so many players to get through the season.
All right.
What else?
What else from because we been able to watch them on a field.
And we will get to do that again tomorrow.
That's right. And we've had media availability since the last time we convened. So I know you have filled up your legal pad with so many notes. So what next?
We got to watch the kicker kick. And they did it.
Who's the kicker?
Tristan Vizcaino.
So he's the guy now.
Well, he's the only one.
He's the guy right now.
Or as John Fossil said, it's Tristan and everybody else on the planet Earth that's not on another team.
Male or female.
Yeah, right. So they did a kicking. It wasn't a full rush, but the only person missing in the kicking operation was the holder. So John Fossil was the holder, and they were kicking indoors. So on his first
so we're charting these kicks.
Oh, I did. On his first 9 attempts, he hit from 33, 35, wide right from 37, and then was good on 39, 41, 43, 45, 47, and on 51, I don't know what he did, but he just did not hit the ball. And it was wide right and short.
Oh, he didn't whiff.
He just didn't hit it well. Let's put it that way.
He hit a toupee like in golf.
It was almost like he got 50.
He hit his fat.
Yeah,
he hit his fat.
It's almost like he
maybe Fossil pulled a Charlie Brown.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Fossil better stop, man.
He got the 50 yards in his head, right?
Could you imagine the coach doing some crap like that? Everybody's out there watching. They're like, "This is the kicker we're gonna be depending on."
Because he had good pop. He had good pop, and then when it was 51, he was mad. I could see his look on. It was like
it was well viewed, right? A lot of people out there.
Oh yeah, we saw it.
And he could feel the pressure.
Yeah,
I'm sure he could feel the pressure.
So anyway.
That was the longest?
That was the long one. Yeah.
And you don't need a kicker with as much pop now for kickoffs? Because of the new fair catch rule? If he can just pop it up.
If somebody's going to catch, but you got to get it past the 25.
Well, they can get it past the 25. But you got to
be accurate,
But you don't have to get it into the end zone
You got to be accurate, though.
Right. You can't kick it out of bounds.
Yeah.
I'll take accuracy. Matt Barr was accurate. He couldn't kick long.
Right.
He was accurate.
Because the idea used to be...
Just give me my point. Give me my sweet spot, and I'm going to make it every time.
Can you kick it, to, say, the 3-yard line or the 5-yard line between the hash and the sideline and pin them in a corner? And then your chances of covering it are much better. Well, now if you do it, guys can just say, okay, fair catch, and I get the ball to 25. So... But, again, the kickoffs, you would like the percentage of them to be touchbacks, a high percentage. And you got to be pretty good at that.
Can he reach the end zone?
I haven't seen that. I think, I'm sure he can.
Okay.
But, again, I'm sure that, at some point they'll sign a veteran guy or somebody to come in here and challenge.
We got somebody for you.
Somebody new?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, somebody new.
Producer Supreme.
Other than McManus?
Producer Supreme, Chris Beam, just notified me of a guy who could be a wild card in this search for a kicker. Have you ever heard of Harry Kane? English Premier League. My son-in-law Colin's favorite team, Tottenham Hotspurs. In fact, he went and watched one of their games over in England just last week and got me some souvenir Hotspur socks. Harry Kane on Good Morning America this morning says he wants to explore life as an NFL kicker after their Premier League. Is he going to retire from the Premier League? It's something I'd love to do.
Okay.
Hey,
and that's something that Jerry Jones would love to explore, I bet, having Harry Kane come in here and try out to be a kicker.
One thing, when they kick,
he makes a lot of money in the English Premier League.
Yeah, and when they kick in soccer, they just blast it, right? There's not two little uprights saying, okay, now you kick it between here. They just got to kick it between.
Ask him to talk to Brett.
100 yards.
He talked to Brett, if we can find Brett. Where's Brett?
What do you mean?
Maher? Yeah, where's Brett?
Well, he was in Denver last week, and they did not sign him.
Omaha, Nebraska still, I think.
Jeez, boy, that was quick.
Producer Supreme, I
just looked up his salary.
Yeah, what's Harry Kane's salary?
I don't know the exchange rate, but I know it's definitely higher. He's making 10.4 euros right now, 10.4 million euros right now playing for Hotspur, which is like, I don't know. I know in dollars it's higher. So basically he's probably making like 15 million.
Yeah.
Don't think he's going to get
the
that.
Cowboys
in the
get
NFL.
$10.9 million available come Friday.
Right. And what did you say the minimum was for a first-year player?
That's right, $750,000. Come on down, Harry Kane.
Can Zeke cook? Can he kick?
Can Zeke too?
Yeah. Can Zeke? Can he kick?
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'd kick if he can help.
You try to do. I'm sure Micah can kick.
Tell you what, that fan base, that Premier League's got the young guys, not the Mickey Spagnolas of the world. They're watching every Saturday and Sunday morning. Mickey.
Is it because of the celebrity that's attached to it? Is this the same league where you've got the actor from Canada? He's one part owner of the league, of the team.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
Okay, so they made a big deal out of it. Yeah, thank you, Wrexham.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they made a big deal out of that. Yeah, they were being followed.
But tell him, make sure he knows though if he comes here.
The actor's Ryan Reynolds, by the way.
Thank you, Christopher.
The newspapers and TVs don't pay for interviews. Okay.
Okay.
He gets paid
it's only
for
$11 million in
They
US
charge
dollars.
over there,
Letting you know.
Okay, it's only $11
exchange
million,
rate.
the
Yeah.
exchange rate.
Yeah.
So that's his starting point. Okay.
Well, that's good. Good idea.
All right. Time for another break.
He's a kicker on this earth.
All right. And there's more mix shots coming up in a moment.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com is one of the most trusted ways to buy, sell, and trade crypto. Whether you're always on the go or stay closer to home, Blockchain.com is just a few taps away. Put the power of crypto in your pocket, so no matter where you are, you can trade on your terms and build a crypto portfolio to fit your life. For crypto pros, rookies, and anyone in between, Blockchain.com makes it easy to own a piece of the future. Blockchain.com, trusted by millions, trusted by America's team.
Hey, Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo Quiero guacamole.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with pre-game sideline access and photo ops with current players, cheerleaders, and Cowboy legends. You want to stay at a team hotel, attend the best tailgate party in Texas, tour the Star, and talk X's and O's with me, Everson Walls? With Star Sports Tours, you can. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
Back to mixed shots.
The schedule is set, and limited tickets for the 2023 Dallas Cowboys season at AT&T Stadium are available now. Don't miss your chance to see your Cowboys live at AT&T Stadium when they host the NFC East rival Eagles, Giants, and Commanders, plus the Rams, Seahawks, Patriots, Lions, and Jets. Visit DallasCowboys.com/tickets or SeatGeek.com, the official ticketing provider of AT&T Stadium.
Good job, Spags. New read.
All right.
I almost had to. You know what I've started doing now? Reading the newspaper. When I'm reading.
You read a newspaper?
Yes. Well,
let's just start right there.
You can read online, right? And as I'm reading, I'm editing people's copy. I'm putting in what it should be instead of what they wrote. Because like we learned a long time ago, they host. Host is a noun, not a verb. You play host.
Oh, okay.
Because you're the host. Mm-hmm. But technically, host is
when you host.
Yeah.
When you host is a verb.
But yes, but you're not it's not a verb as when we host. It's not a verb.
That was very uninteresting.
So anyway, just thought I'd give you a little insight there.
Do you have anything interesting on your legal pad?
When I read. You got to get a little insight.
I would go with dead air instead of what you just told us.
Oh, but we spent 5 minutes on some soccer player who sounds like a Vegas lounge singer. Let's go see Harry King sing.
That does sound like
Kane.
a lounge singer, doesn't it?
Yes.
Harry Kane.
I'm trying to skew your audience a little younger there, Mickey.
No one young is listening
people.
to this program. No one young is listening to this. They don't care.
Oh, yes, they do. You'd be surprised.
Even though most punters are coming over from Australia to punt in the NFL, huh?
Well, bring them on.
There's been a lot.
How much money are they looking for? That's the thing. Are they getting paid over there versus what punters get paid over here?
Don't know.
I doubt it.
But I know there's been a bunch coming through.
Okay, so you want to know what else I got on?
Yes.
Please tell us.
Please save us.
So this
Hopefully
guy.
it's not another English lesson.
This is. I've got a bunch if you need them. By the way,
Grammar.
Try to help out the TV guys too. Right.
Go ahead, Mick.
So one Kelvin Joseph.
Yes.
My guy.
Saw him out there when they went to nickel, and he was working in the slot.
That's right.
How about that?
I saw that last week.
Yeah. So we'll see. They're giving him.
I'm telling you, man, my
more
dude.
opportunities.
My dude, I'm just
He's your
telling
wild
you guys,
card?
That's my wild card.
You know what? It's not. Well, frustrating's not the word, but when you see him out there, he's got great feet,
man,
and he's got great speed. Now, if he just learns what he's supposed to do, right? Because there's a lot of talent there.
So in the slot, I wonder if the Cowboys can simplify it a little bit more for him. Is there a way to do that so that he can just play instead of thinking? Because you can see it. And I tease about that's my guy, but I can see the potential. Of course, we know about the mistakes, the mental mistakes, but you can see the potential in this guy, and I see why they signed him. I just want to see him come through. I want to see him, fulfill his potential.
You know, his biggest problem is he hasn't played that much football. He didn't play that much at LSU. He transfers, sits out a year, didn't play, and then plays a year and gets towards the end of the season and decides, well, no, I got to protect myself, and I'm sitting out. And then he gets here, and he didn't get many defensive snaps. He just needs to play.
If they think he's worth it, they should assign someone to watch film with him. Because playing defensive back, he's got the instincts. He has that. He just needs the knowledge.
Right.
And it shouldn't be that hard to be able to just sit down with him one-on-one and show him exactly. First of all, when I coach the kids, I tell them, these are the things we don't do first.
There you go.
You cannot do this, okay? And you go from there. You dumb it down from there. Don't do this, then you got all this other stuff available to you. That should be a way to approach this guy because, once again, he's got just as much talent as anybody in this secondary.
And if he could just use it, not be so jumpy.
Yes.
The other thing at corner that I noticed is my dark horse, Eric Scott Jr.
Yes.
There was a couple times I saw that with Trayvon Diggs not there, he got a couple snaps with the first team defense on the right side.
Boy, that was quick. That was quick.
Stephon Gilmore on one side and he was on the other for a few snaps, not everyone. Because they were using Nashawn Wright over there quite a bit. But,
When you have the depth of this secondary and then you go straight to him when Diggs is not there, that's pretty good.
Tom didn't put you out there.
Hell no. I was over there playing with myself. I don't know what I was doing.
But he wasn't a draft pick.
That's right. And not one that they traded up to the first pick in the sixth round. So we got to remember that. And he looked right, too. I mean, I think they listed him at 6'1". He just looks light.
He has that awareness about him.
Yeah. So did see that. Matt Waletzko, who basically missed all last year, they had him working at left tackle with the kind of the second-team guys. Tyron Smith was at right tackle with the first team. Yeah, he was out there, and he was participating too. They kind of held Zach Martin out. Terrence Steele was out on the field, but he's still rehabbing.
And who was on the left tackle?
Some guy named Tyler Smith.
So this is it then?
That's where he's going to be.
This is it then?
I think so.
That's crazy.
And we'll see what happens.
And not as much as Tyler as Tyron. Tyron. Right. Tyron over here. That's
right, and we'll see what happens. And Matt Farniak was at left guard.
You know, when I went to the Giants, I realized that I felt more comfortable on the right corner than the left corner after playing left corner here all my career.
Because?
Yeah, I guess I'm just more comfortable on the right side, from playing different sports and things of that nature. And maybe Tyron has figured out the same thing. Also,
the supposedly defensive end from Florida A&M, Isaiah Land, he was playing linebacker, just what I thought they would do with him.
What's going on with Marquise?
He's still at safety, and he, they were changing everybody.
Marquise Bell.
Marquise Bell, that was his teammate. Interesting, and I can't remember if we talked about it last week or not when we talked with Dan Quinn. He said he first noticed Isaiah Land when he was scouting Marquise Bell.
Really?
And he saw him.
That happens often.
And that would have been his big year when he was a junior, when he was the FCS Defensive Player of the Year. And he said so when they got to the combine and guys were working out or whatever, and he said he called Marquise and say, "Hey, what's up with this dude? You know about him." And he said, Marquise said, he's a dog. And he said, I kept an eye.
Marquise actually spoke.
Yeah. And he said, so I kept an eye on him. Now, they didn't draft him, but they surely went after him right away. And Dan Quinn talked about how, you have to have a vision for guys. And he said, my vision was I've got a guy that can rush the quarterback but looks like a linebacker. And he's like 225. So at times, and they were working like two sets at a time, the veteran guys over here, the rookies on this end, and they had Overshawn and Land playing linebacker with the young guys. Yeah. It looked good. Now we'll see. Obviously we have to qualify everything we saw with helmets, jerseys, shorts, no contact. But just you can see how guys move, right? You can tell. So, it'll be interesting to get another look tomorrow when they get back out there. Michael Gallup was running really well, catching the ball. They were doing some drill, and they were throwing the ball into the end zone, and it wasn't against anybody. It was just catching the ball, and the ball was overthrown, and he just reached out with one hand and grabbed it and brought it in.
When you think about Michael Gallup, he's got to be one of the most important guys on the team.
I think so.
This year.
Yeah.
Now
be good now because we got a tour coming
number
through.
2 receiver. That would be so cool, him coming back the way he was. Because before his injury, we saw him do some crazy, crazy stuff.
Right.
I remember him going down the sidelines for a touchdown. I don't know how he did it. He almost looked like he tried almost cartwheeled himself into the end zone one time.
Right.
And so his balance, his athleticism, before that injury, it was pretty freaky.
I mean, you get him.
I like the fact that they're using him in a variety of ways now.
Moving him around. And Cooks can do the same thing. He can play inside, outside, and he is as quick and fast as advertised.
Have they been working Gallup in the slot?
I don't know that I saw him line up in any of those, but again.
And see, that's the thing about the receiver. You give him an advantage if he can play different sides and, of course, play the slot.
Right.
Then you can't be predictable.
And you almost got, if he can, and you got 3 receivers that are totally interchangeable.
That's what I'm talking about.
Because CD can go inside.
Yes.
that part looked pretty good, seeing what he can do. And then one DeMarcus Ware was hanging around that day. I
saw that on Twitter.
Helping the guys with some of their pass rush, teaching them things. And he looked good. I was like, come on, you don't need to go in the Hall of Fame. You could still play, right? He goes, well, I showed those young guys that I could still get around them. So he goes, when I can do that, then they listen. And he was talking about how the process is really something else, sitting there posing for them to make his bust. But he's all in. He goes, they keep me busy. So one more OTA practice, and then the following week is mandatory mini camp. But I would imagine the amount of physicality will be about the same.
Powder puff. OTA.
So are you surprised at all that the Cowboys haven't brought in a young developmental quarterback?
I thought they might.
As you look at the Cowboys quarterbacks, with Dak turns 30 in July, Cooper Rush turns 30 in November, and then Will Grier, he's 28 years old. They don't have a quarterback on their roster under age 28.
Yeah, and all they did for the rookie mini camp was bring the guy in for a workout, and then they didn't bring him back for the OTAs. So
clearly there's not anybody that they'll
right.
And I just did a little search through all the rosters, and there's probably about 10 teams in the league 10 to 12 teams that only have 3 quarterbacks on their roster. And maybe some of that, too, is they're not doing much in the offseason, but maybe they're waiting. Maybe during the season there's somebody they like who gets let go or whatever, as far as a practice squad type.
Yeah, because he doesn't need to know the system.
Right.
He just needs to come in and be a practice player.
I mean, you're looking at someone like that for the future.
Yeah.
So developmental but clearly there's nobody that they really like beyond,
And, the NFL is trying to help out with the new rule that you can have the emergency third quarterback not count against your game day actives. But again,
now the rule on that though is he has to be on the 53.
Yes, cannot be on the practice squad.
Yeah, can't be a call up from the practice squad.
So that game. I mean, I went back and looked. I was trying to refresh myself. Grier basically was on the 50. He was on the practice squad the first week of the season, and then he was on the 53 all the way through. So he was already on, because somebody asked the question, will this cause teams to keep a third quarterback on the 53 instead of
they were already doing it here.
But they were already doing it here because you got to be able to figure out, if I waive him to get him on the practice squad, is somebody else going to grab him from me? You got to be pretty good at deciding how that is.
And if you look around the league, there are teams that I think would pick up Will Grier.
I think so too.
I
mean, there's barely enough quarterbacks to be a backup. Right?
I mean, the fact that I just went through rosters and I found about 12 teams that only have 3 quarterbacks on their roster in May tells you that there's the pickings are slim as far as quarterbacks.
Yeah, unless you're waiting for the USFL.
And this morning I looked at the USFL rosters, and they got guys that are 34 years old starting quarterbacking.
And the XFL didn't have enough quarterbacks.
Because I was thinking, well, maybe they're looking at a guy that's playing in the USFL that they might sign after their season's over, and I didn't find
nothing
anybody.
Caught your attention.
Yeah, but
they
could.
Quarterbacks, not enough of them out there.
I'm a cornerback. I don't care.
Are you surprised they only have 16 cornerbacks on their roster?
I'm surprised you guys are fussing about not having enough quarterbacks. Who cares? Who cares?
Better for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you'll care come October.
Have you ever heard of Ector High School out of
Ector, Odessa Ector?
Yeah.
It's a now defunct high school, I think.
That's very true.
Mm-hmm.
My cousin, he's coming to hang out with me today.
Yeah.
He was on that 1972 championship squad.
At Odessa Ector.
He was a starter. Yeah.
All right.
Darryl Mitchell, he was the man. He ended up going to Texas Tech and met, of all people, Bill Parcells.
Yeah, Parcells was a defensive coordinator there in 77.
That's right.
Yeah. Wow.
He's upstairs waiting on me.
He
now.
probably knows the Shepherds.
Of course, I knew them. Tony Ford. I know that's the uncle, and I was in love.
And
with
Woody Shepard and Daryl Shepard.
I was in love with the unfortunately the mother died. I was in love with her when we were both like 10 years old.
And of course, that's Sterling Shepard's family. And
Yes.
Derek Shepard.
Yes.
They're all from Odessa.
I knew them way back then.
So Parcells was there with Steve Sloan as the head coach.
That's right.
Because I remember the story. Steve Sloan left there to go to Ole Miss, and when I was working in Jackson, he was at Ole Miss, and Parcells didn't want to go there, and he went Vanderbilt, maybe it was.
I think it may be.
Or was it Vanderbilt
I
Tech?
think
I'm trying to remember.
Did Sloan may have gone from Vandy to Tech?
Yes, and then to Ole
Yeah,
Miss.
that's right. And so Parcells was the connection.
And the story was Bear Bryant told Steve Sloan, because he was Alabama and he was like Bear's son, and he said, "Take that job. It's a job killer." And sure enough, he got fired. Second year I was there. Yeah, he got fired because they couldn't recruit. They were getting out recruited because they
didn't have enough money?
No, they were late to the game on integrating their football.
That's what I was
team.
going to say as a black thing.
Yes.
That's what I was going to say.
Oh, and the negative recruiting that was going on by the other schools. Oh, my. And you just couldn't overcome it. Couldn't overcome Colonel Reb. You couldn't overcome playing Dixie. It's just amazing when I got there.
That's why the Shepherds wound up at Oklahoma, because Barry Switzer was ahead of the game as far as integrating
You were
college
very
football.
proactive.
That's right. That's right. All right, that does it for this edition of Mix Shots. Back to our regular time for our final off-season edition of Mix Shots
5th.
on Monday, right? Mickey, you have a quizzical look.
June 5th. June 5th, right?
Yep.
So ahead of the mini camp started.
That's right.
We're always ahead of
We'll
it.
preview the mini camp
Pre-camp.
on the next edition of Mix Shots. See you Monday.
Go Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!